There are two types of things you can await: functions, or callables, and signals. Let's go through both cases. Awaiting signals. Using await before a signal pauses the function until the signal is emitted. Once the signal is emitted, the function continues where it left off. Here's an example setup. There is a progress bar here. When the start button is clicked, the progress bar will fill up over the course of a second. This can be done in a few ways, but in this case, this is done using tweens. When this bar is filled, it outputs the filled signal. And in the script, we have an append function. This append function will add text to this output label. Now, as you see in the script, the append function will be called 3 times. So once before we start the progress bar, once inside the progress bar, this signal being emitted will also call the append function, as you see here, and after the bar fills up. Now, what order do you think the text will appear in? Let's find out. As we see, first we get before signal, then the function will wait until the bar fills up, the bar is filled, and then it calls bar filled and after signal. Okay, let's see that again. Great, now let's remove await line. What do you think happens now? Let's run it again. We get before signal and after signal at roughly the same time, and only after the bar fills up in a second, then we get bar filled. So to look at the code, first, the signal is run, then the progress bar is started. This doesn't do anything. This just references a variable and does nothing with it, basically. Therefore, there is no pause in the function, and the function immediately moves to after signal. Concurrently, the progress bar fills up, and when it fills up, it emits its own filled signal, which causes bar filled to be appended. A little known thing about awaiting signals is that you can actually retrieve the arguments the signal was called with. What you can do is... Alright, let's print that out so they can see it. If you do this, what you'll see is... There we go. See, you can see it's printed out on the console here. If the signal is emitted with multiple arguments, those arguments will be returned in an array. If we called this without an await, note that t is now the signal object in Godot rather than the argument that the signal was emitted with. Awaiting functions. We just wrote a function with an await in it. Functions with awaits in them can themselves be awaited. Here's another example setup. This function here, example coroutine, creates a timer object that has a built-in timeout signal. This timeout signal calls after this duration in seconds. So this line here effectively pauses the function for 1 second. So this function, example coroutine, has an await in it, so therefore it can itself be awaited. So when I click the start button, here is the code that runs. Note that it's called without an await. What do you think will happen? So first, before function is called, then example coroutine is called. Stepping into example coroutine, when we get to the line with await in it, the function pauses until the signal is called. However, at the exact same time, the function returns and execution resumes on the function it called example coroutine. So we get before function, we start example coroutine, it returns early on the await statement, resuming on start, then we get after function. So once 1 second passes, we get hello. This is what a coroutine is. You can think of it as running parallel to the function that called it. This, however, means that there is no guarantee about the order in which things happen. Now, of course, this is a lot of the time undesirable behavior. What if I don't want this to happen? What if I want to preserve the order in which things execute? That is simple, just await the function. Running this again gives before function. We get a 1-second pause before we get hello, then after function, exactly as expected. If the awaited function returns a value, this value can be retrieved by awaiting the function as well. It's very similar to signals. Note that if we are using the return value of the function in any way, the function must be awaited. As you can see here, Godot itself is preventing us from writing code like this. We have to put an await here. If you do want the function to run as a coroutine, it has to be called by itself on its own line. Now let's introduce this function, generate lag. This just creates a lag spike in our program. I'll put this function before the await in the coroutine and await the coroutine itself. What do you think happens now? As you can see, first you get the lag, then before function, then the 1-second pause, then hello, then after function. Why is this the case? Let's go line by line. First, the start button is clicked. This will trigger on start. The before function part is called. This updates the label's text. Or does it? This is actually a quirk of the Godot engine. The labels display, I don't know exactly why, but it only updates by the end of the next frame. So basically, at this moment, the label's text data is updated. It is simply not showing on screen. Example coroutine is called and await. So we step in here. First, it generates lag. So this causes the lag spike that we saw. And then the timer is created and await. This waits for 1 second. We get hello. The return value is unused. After example coroutine finishes, we resume execution on onStart and after function is called. Let's remove the await now. What do you think happens? As you can see, we get the lag, then before function and after function appears. There's a 1 second delay, then we get hello. Stepping into the logic here, first we get before function. Example coroutine is called stepping in. We get generate lag. Remember that it does not resume execution on onStart just yet. Generate lag is called. This causes the lag spike. And then the timer is called. Resumes execution on our onStart function. At the same time, it waits for this timeout signal to be emitted. So we get after function first. After 1 second, we get hello. The return value is unused. But you might ask, is it possible for the label to update before the lag spike? Yes, there is a built-in signal that we can await, which is getTree.processFrame. This signal is emitted when the frame is finished processing. So to wait until the end of the next frame, let's add 2 awaits here. So you could put this in a loop, but just put it twice just for clarity. So let's run this again. And of course, I think we should await this example coroutine now as well. First, we get before function, then we get the lag spike, and then we get a 1 second delay, and then hello, then after function. Okay, now what happens when generate lag is called after the timer await? So this is the code. What do you think happens? Let's run it again. So first, the start button is clicked. This triggers on start. Before function is called. Example coroutine is called with an await. Note that we do actually see before function update on the label. This is because both onStart and example coroutine have paused, allowing Godot's main game loop to continue. This allows Godot to continue processing frames, and when it processes frames, it updates the label's display. As example coroutine is called with an await, we preserve the order of the execution. The timer is created and awaited. This causes a 1 second delay. Then we get a lag spike. Then we get hello. And then we return with the return value being unused. Then we resume execution on onStart, and we get after function. If we remove the await here, as you can see, we get before function, after function, then hello. At this point, I think you should be able to figure out why exactly this happens by yourself. Now, what if you want to await multiple things in parallel? In this scene, we have 5 progress bars, each set to fill up in a random amount of time. only when all of them have emitted their filled signal will this square turn green. Now, how was this achieved? How do you await multiple things? Unfortunately, I don't actually think there is a built-in way to do this. Doing this required creating a new class, composite signal, which you can see here. And this file will be available in the GitHub link in the description. But going back to our main scene script here, let's examine the code here. So first, we connect the signal. Then for I number bars, which in this case is 5, we instantiate a progress bar scene and add it as a child to the container. Then when the start button is clicked, first we reset the square's color to gray. Afterwards, we start each progress bar with a random duration between 1 and 3 seconds. Using our new composite signal class, we can simply write a line like this, which waits for every single bar to be filled up. Then only after that is the finish function called, which simply turns the square green. So this composite signal class also contains await any. So await all waits for every single awaitable object to finish, but await any only waits for one. So if we replace await all here with await any, run the scene again, you can see the square turns green as soon as a single one of these progress bar finishes. Now let's see how these concepts are actually used. So this is the game prototype that I have right now. So if I go into a run, you can see the tiles are drawn one at a time with a slight delay between them. Let's go to the function that actually draws the tiles. So we call draw tile here, but we also manually added a delay between each tile being drawn. Also, when I start combat, you can see there will be an intro animation of the player, the companion, and the enemies coming in, and also the tiles are being drawn. So I do want to wait for all of this to happen before the player's turn begins. Now, why is this important? Because I have a turn timeout here. So I want this timer to only start after all these things have been completed. So let's see how that's done. So if we go to the initialize function here, you can see I have a composite signal that await all here. So first it loads the enemy, then there's intro animation for the player, then of course there's intro for the companions, and then we have the function that draws all the tiles. So this composite signal will wait for all of this to finish. Only then does it start the turn cycle. And a bunch of other logic later, it starts the timer. Alright, I hope this helps. I made this because I thought the page explaining these things was wholly inadequate in explaining all these intricacies of this one keyword. I do hope that we do get a Godot native version of promise.all and promise.any if you know what it is. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe.